Party. Melinda, David.
There's a
I
need to turn on.
Yeah. Come on, I know. And we're all worried.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and exit off of here.
Okay, I like it.
Thank you so much. It's gonna be fun.
We're live. I'm gonna do quick.
Right, okay.
Am I in the can? No, I can't. I'll just stand here. This way? I'll stand over here. Okay.
Is it gonna move? Perfectly long. Are you gonna control it? Okay.
Alrighty. Thank you, everybody, for coming. My name is Gianna Williams. I'm an outreach specialist for the City of Dallas in the Office of Environmental Quality and Sustainability. In our department, we work on many different environmental topics each day, making strides to help preserve Dallas's natural resources and to encourage everyone to practice beneficial environmental behaviors. Our Earth Day Everyday program is the result of the combined efforts of the Central Library and the Office of Environmental Quality and Sustainability, and aims to highlight the many ways that we can care for the planet throughout the year. This long-standing partnership between OEQS and the library has produced many informational programs that cover topics such as zero waste, water conservation, stormwater, and ways that everything ties into one another. After a break for the summer, we are glad to be back with a very interesting topic. Litter in our communities leads to more, it's a typo. Litter in our communities impacts more than aesthetics. Our water resources and soil health take a hit when our litter pollutes the ground. No one likes to see their neighborhoods full of trash and debris, but what happens when you make it a life goal to personally pick up as much of that waste as possible? Today's presenter is Madeline Bracken, a Texas master naturalist, head of Keep Waxahachie Beautiful, and Texas Recreation and Park Society Advocate of the Year. Her story of turning the impressive goal to pick up 1 million pieces of litter in her community into healing during a rough time is sure to inspire. She's been featured in local news stories, hosted numerous cleanup initiatives with more than 24,000 pounds of trash removed from the environment, and has founded a neighborhood composting program with nearly 2,000 pounds of organic waste being diverted from the landfill. Please join me in welcoming Madeline to our program.
I want to thank everyone who's here, and I have to tell you, when I am a library kid. I grew up going to the library every single weekend with my dad. We would bike to the library and my mom as well, and I learned to love it so much. So the fact that I was asked to speak here at the library, honestly, is about as famous as I've ever wanted to get. So library presentation famous is perfect. So one thing I want to express, I recently had the opportunity to go to a wonderful conference, and they had a keynote speaker, and this keynote speaker was known for doing documentaries and his conservation work. And so he was the keynote. They flew him in from out of state. He gave a fantastic presentation, but the entire thing was about him, which is kind of the point. But I walked away being like, okay, what do I want to do? I don't have family who own millions of acres of land that I could play around with. I don't have a background in documentary. I'm the primary caregiver for my kids who does search engine optimization for my day job for an insurance agency. And so I was like, wow, that was really great, but like, how does this impact me? I can't do anything that big. So my goal for today is, yes, I'll share with you some of my personal experiences. Yes, I'll share with you my passion projects and things I am personally obsessed with. But I would love it if you walked away with something for yourself. Like, what does Michael want to do? What does Judy want to do? What does Gianna want to do, or Elizabeth? Because that would make this presentation a success. And I want to start off by showing you, giving a little bit of my backstory. This is my family. These are my 3 kids and my darling husband, Jacob. And admittedly, when my youngest was born, I experienced a little bit of postpartum. I'll try not to cry because this is being recorded. But it was really hard. I don't know if you've ever had the opportunity to be a mom or to be a primary caregiver. It is rewarding, but it is monotonous. And it is tedious, and every day is the same, and you smell like sour milk, and you are lacking sleep on a regular basis, and it was getting harder and harder and harder to get out of bed. Even though I loved being a mom, even though I had chosen the life, I had chosen every single one of my kids, none of them were accidents. It was challenging and I couldn't figure out how to become more motivated, how one day could just not blur into the rest. So out of desperation, I did tell my husband I need to go to therapy, but on top of that, I set a goal. And that goal was to pick up 1 million pieces of garbage. Because there were a few things that I absolutely loved. I loved being outside. I loved being with my kids and I loved nature. I grew up being in the outdoors, but I knew if I did something, it had to fit into my constraints. I couldn't go to an event because it didn't work with my schedule generally. I couldn't get childcare because if I had childcare, if I was paying for childcare, I was going to have to be at work during that time. So 1 million pieces of garbage fit into my goal. Not only did I set that goal, but I started tracking it. Every time I picked up garbage when I out on a walk with my family, I'd be like, all right, 35 pieces. I'd come home and I would log it on the computer being like 35 pieces in Tennessee today, in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, where we were living at the time, or Goodlettsville, Tennessee, as we would move around and it would move with me. And at first, you know, I got to 100 pieces. That was very exciting, but it was wonderful to see how even though my days did not change, I was still doing the exact same activities. I was still taking my kids to the park. I was still maintaining my job. I was still being the primary parent. It changed because every day, maybe all the hours were the same, but there was a different number on my spreadsheet. And it gave me something to work towards. So I found fulfillment. Viktor Frankl from Man's Search for Meaning, he shared the quote, "Happiness cannot pursue, it must ensue." When I stopped focusing on what would make me happy, but started focusing on what would make me proud every day, it made things up really exciting. And look for opportunities. Well, so this is me, and let me try to get rid of that. So this is what that would look like at a playground. This is me and my daughter, Memphis. It's really cute. And we would pick up garbage. And I started tracking it online even. I started sharing my journey. I started a social media channel called 1 Million Pieces of Garbage. And I'd start sharing my experience like, hey, I found this today. It was really fun. Or this is a weird piece of garbage, because a lot of picking up litter is similar to architecture. I mean, archaeology, not architecture, nothing like architecture. It's similar to archaeology, the study of people. When we lived in Tennessee, while we were picking up litter, we would find historical glass bottles, which would lead down a rabbit hole of studying how old these bottles were. Some of them were original Coca-Cola bottles, original Dr. Pepper bottles, and plugging into a community. Plugging into the litter picking community, it might surprise you, but I started to make friends from all over the world just by sharing it on social media. I'm going to point out this piece of art right here. This piece of art it's from a nonprofit in Canada, and she focuses on picking up shoreline debris, on shoreline litter. And this art is actually fishing line. And then they repurpose and upsell it. But I started connecting with her and I told my husband, we need to go to Nova Scotia. And he's like, why? I'm like, because people pick up litter there. We haven't gone yet, but but I did end up ordering this piece of art and making those friends online in a time where I was very lonely, and we would cheer each other on. And if you disappeared for a few weeks, they'd be like, hey, I haven't seen you outside. Are you okay? So it's created a sense of community. So the goal of just picking up a few pieces of garbage every day, to this point, I've picked up 156,940 pieces of garbage. Thank you. But it went on, and mind you, I don't know if I'll reach 1 million pieces of garbage in my life. 156 is wonderful and I'm excited, but even if I don't ever get to 1 million pieces of garbage, I'll get to 200,000 pieces. I'll get to 500,000 pieces. It's kind of like the saying is, shoot for the moon, and if you don't make it, you'll end up in the stars. Shoot for 1 million. If you don't make it, oh darn it, You only made it to 156,000. But from there, as I was posting online, I remember on TikTok one day of someone I had never met who also lived in the Dallas area commented, yeah, it's really dirty here. There's a lot of garbage. And I was like, and I was, you know, I'm quick to call someone out. And I said, okay, what are you doing about it? And she said, well, I'm not doing anything about it. And I said, would you like to do something about it? And she said, yes, let's go pick up garbage. So me and one friend, this is my friend Ashley, my first online friend who I met in real life, we started doing litter cleanups at Bachman Lake. And then we started posting these group cleanups of just her and I at first, and just being like, this is what we're doing, this is what we accomplished, goofy videos, following trends, having a good time with it, never taking ourselves too seriously because that would ruin the joy. From there, we got invited to another birthday party at White Rock Lake, where a woman every single year has a litter cleanup in which she cleans up the lake. And if you ever had the chance to visit White Rock Lake, it's absolutely stunning, but also filthy in places. From there, it sparked a connection with another incredible Dallas advocate. And he said, okay, you guys are doing litter cleanups on a regular basis. What if we did this every single Monday? And I said, so you are insane, but okay, let's do it. So we started doing a litter cleanup every single Monday at White Rock Lake for about 4 months. On top of that, started other group cleanups with other individuals. And to date, with these group cleanups, we've cleared out over 24,628 pounds of garbage from Texas waterways. I would note this is without any financing. This is without being an official organization, because I knew a few things. One, I wanted to keep my job. I didn't want this to be my entire life. I love picking up waterways, but the moment I have to pick up waterways, it's no longer fun for me. And my friends who have started nonprofits, they talked about how the paperwork kind of consumed their lives. So I knew I didn't want the paperwork to consume my life. So doing something more organic was very natural for us. And along the way, making incredible friends, being absolutely inspired. We no longer do it every week. That wasn't very sustainable for us, but for 3 months, my gosh, it was incredible. And people came every single week. And we have more group cleanups coming up as well. So again, it was really fun. From there, my kids got busier. So there are a few stages of motherhood. You have the beginning stages where they're small and with you all the time. And then there's the next stage, which is the soccer mom stage. And that's the stage where you're driving them around all the time. So I used to have my Saturdays clear to take everyone in my family to these litter cleanups, but that quickly became non-existent with soccer and with different swimming and all of the different events. So my litter cleanup went down a little bit. You know, I'm still going on walks, but not on a regular basis like I used to. And I thought, okay, I still want to help my community. I still want to make an impact. What can I do? Still maintaining the 1 million pieces of garbage, but group cleanups weren't as feasible as often with the new phase of life. So my family and I, we started composting. By raise of hands, who here composts? Got 1, 2, excellent. We've got 2 composters here, which is very exciting. So we started composting as a family, and we just started our own garden, individually composting ourselves. And we're like, wow, it really breaks down quickly. That's pretty amazing how quickly it breaks down. I think we could handle a little bit more. So we started approaching our family. Not our family, we don't have family in Texas. All of our family's back in Utah and Idaho. But we started approaching our neighbors and saying, hey, we've started composting. Do you want to compost too? And we try to make it as simple as possible because again, the goal is don't let it consume my life, but still make a positive impact that we can sustain over a long period. So it has to fit within our lifestyle. So we started handing out these mason jars to about 5 neighbors. And it was the premise is simple. We would just hand them a mason jar and they would bring it back full of their kitchen scraps. We kind of gave them like a little text message telling them everything that they could put in, everything they can't put in. And slowly we started upgrading. You know, we started with 1 used composter from Facebook Marketplace. We ended up upgrading those slowly, always from Facebook Marketplace. The goal was never to let it be a financial burden either. We're now up to 3 large composters in our backyard. And this is kind of what it turns into after a few months. So beautiful soil for our garden, which is wonderful. Again, it fits our lifestyle. But what's great is it also gave us the opportunity to to know our neighbors a little bit more, to have an excuse to talk with them on a more regular basis, to also push us out of our comfort zone to approach them. That doesn't mean everyone said yes. I do want to point that out. I have some people who approach me and they've been like, hey, I'm nervous about them saying no. And I just always respond, oh, they will. Like, they're going to say no. I have one neighbor, I love her to death. When I asked her if she wanted to be part of our compost program, she laughed and she said, Madeline, you're always up to something. And then she walked away. And so she was not the target market for that one. And that's okay. And then we have some people who attempted to do composting for a while. They tried to turn in their kitchen scraps, but they weren't able to get enough buy-in from different family members, so they couldn't sustain it. So we had other neighbors who said, thank you, I tried it out, but I'm not able to keep up with it, which again, it's not going to be for everyone. But now we have about 5 neighbors who consistently turn in their kitchen scraps. And just again, I've personally invested probably about $200 into the program with the mason jars and the composters. And to date, as of this morning, we have diverted 2,083 pounds of organic waste from landfills. So, and I'm really proud of that. And just imagine, this is one street. Our street probably has about 20 households in it. And only 5 people are participating in our composting program. And we diverted 2,083 pounds. If we were to expand it, or if more people, it's one of the most sustainable ways to compost. A lot of people want to do like citywide composting, which is amazing, but honestly, there's a large environmental impact to citywide composting. There's transporting it other places. While this almost has 0 environmental impact, my neighbors are literally walking it to my door, and then I'm walking it back to their door. And it's through micro activism, micro projects, where we're able to have a larger impact. So I actually want to do an exercise with you, and we're going to go over some of the other things over here as well. But this exercise, I'm going to have to move the camera over there. We have pieces of paper. Gianna has paper and pen. This is called purpose mapping. All right, and for purpose mapping, we're going to draw 3 circles.
Five and diagram.
Right there, yes. A little Venn, we're creating a Venn diagram, a purpose Venn diagram.
Oh.
So we're going to brainstorm a little bit. In one circle, you're going to write what I enjoy. What do you enjoy? The next diagram, you'll do what the world needs. And the last one is what I actually do. And I want you to take a minute. I want you to fill in, what do you enjoy doing? If you enjoy playing on your phone with social media, that's not a negative thing. I have a friend who runs a social media account for an animal shelter, all voluntary, because she's good at it. She's good at responding to messages. She likes posting pictures of dogs. Who doesn't love a silly dog video? But through her efforts, she's helped save over 500 dogs. And again, so write what you enjoy. Is it dog? Is it cat? I have a friend who loves volunteering at a rabbit sanctuary. Is it video games? Is it technology access? So just have fun. I know for me, outdoors was definitely out there. I loved being active. I couldn't do another thing that just required me to sit longer. So I'll give you about a minute just to have fun and write what you enjoy. Who's your match? All right. Now we're going to write what the world actually needs. And I feel like I could brainstorm all day on this one. What do I feel the world needs? I know for me, I do feel like we need greater access to composting. It should be a natural part of the waste cycle management. And just write down what you feel the world needs. Maybe greater access to food for everyone. Maybe affordable housing. More amenities in your local library, pollinator gardens. And then what can you actually do realistically? I want you to be dead honest with your own schedule. If you don't have, for me, litter is a very natural goal because I'm already outside. If I didn't go outside for walks on a regular basis, making a goal to pick up litter, I wouldn't be able to sustain it. It doesn't fit my lifestyle. For you, what is something realistically you could do? Could you add it on? An activity that I know individuals do is if they travel a lot, instead of just traveling for work, they'll help transport animals. They had a conference down in Austin. A local animal shelter needed some dogs transported to Austin. They said, hey, I'm going to Austin anyway. Let me transport the dogs down to you. It added about an hour onto their schedule that they were able to fit. So it's just thinking of how it can fit your schedule. Service doesn't have to be inconvenient, and the less inconvenient it is, the more likely you're going to stay with it. And as soon as you're done, feel free to put time to pen so I can get it done. And keep in mind, what you'll do about it doesn't have to be a perfect overlap. Nothing's truly a perfect overlap, but it's where the intersection, where there are intersections. For me, I wasn't passionate about rotting food, but it hit an intersection. Would anybody like to share some of the things that you kind of brainstormed? Thank you.
I feel kind of sad because it's been really hot these past 2 years. And we usually go on the weekends to Walking. I'm not working. And when we get there, I always take trash bags. We pick up where we're supposed to camp.
Mhm.
In the area. I give the kids and me and go out there. And everybody's just staring at us, right, while we're picking up trash. They're like, people just got here. And, it's 4 or 5 families that go together. And these people just got here and they're picking up trash. Why are they picking up trash? So we pick up when we get there and we pick up when we leave. And so we have the warden come to us and say, oh my God, I've never seen any families do that, great job. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I said, it's only one piece of trash, that adds up. So we do that and we find so much crazy stuff. Toothbrushes, you name it, stuff that comes up from the lake that washes up, fishing lines, stuff like that. And books and stuff that, if you didn't pick it up and you maybe hurt somebody, yeah. They get there and they didn't look down. And so, yeah, we have a lot of fun doing that. We've been doing that for years. Now our kids are getting older and everybody's branching out. But this year we made a promise that we are gonna go to the lake.
I love, and so what I like, things I love about that is you're not like, hey, we're gonna pick up garbage the whole time. Because that would ruin your vacation and your kids would resent you for it. Like, Mom, you took us to the lake and we cleaned the whole time. But you just made it a goal at the beginning. And that's all. Thank you. Anybody else like to share what they can? Go ahead, Mike.
I think the aspect of recycling has always been really important in my life. One thing that I would really like to improve on though in my own life is to actually know how to recycle properly. What I have noticed being just here in Dallas is that there's so much localism, which is really cool. I went to one Walmart, I forget which Walmart it was, but I was so impressed because they had a recycling machine, they had drones. And then they also had a recycling bin. And I kid you not, it had about 6 of the recycling things where you would put in different types of plastic, you had to sort, you know what I mean? And it was on par with some of the recycling that Japan used to have, with the 10 to 12 pieces. So now when I look to recycle, I look to see the triangle and I look to actually put my bottles in there and then separate my trash. That's the little part that I have been doing. But I hope that there is some more information that's publicly available in the future to where we can learn how to maybe differentiate those plastics, right? If it has a number 1 inside or 2, number 3. And I also think that would help small businesses here as well as franchise owners, because I've noticed that a lot of them try to be environmentally conscious and conscientious and waste aware. And I really feel like sometimes people try to do it in a way that's good, but maybe, just maybe, they are not aware that it can affect other areas and aspects, such as like food safety, right? Or clothing that has been, and I love to thrift, don't get me wrong, and I love to eat at places. I love to go and even, get, go to the food bank sometimes, especially when I do have home, right? And can store that food properly. But these are all aspects of things, in my opinion, that develop waste, right? Develop waste in the first place. So I think that and it's hard because, I'm just gonna be completely honest with you and transparent, right? Like, as a person experiencing homelessness right now, homelessness is a big trash producer.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so we have to be very conscientious about what we wear, how we eat, what we are eating. And sometimes those channels, depending, if you are completely vulnerable and powerless and only relying on a single source for your food or a single source for your clothing, well, then those people are accountable for what you are doing. And so sometimes you have to cut ties and you have to say, I'm doing things, maybe the traditional, right? I might go wash my clothes somewhere else. Now, is that an abuse of public resources? It depends on how you use it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it depends on what you're doing. But I think that that's a conversation that kind of needs to be had maybe on more of a public level. And I hope that when that happens, people like me are invited into those talks.
Yeah. And I know a lot of initiatives do want to have open communication. So showing up and speaking, even being here. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah, and Gianna is a wonderful resource as far as educational outreach. They do a lot of initiatives with the city, so thank you for your feedback.
Of course.
Would anybody else like to share something?
I like going on walks at the Katy Trail. So
I
I
love
live
the
like 4 minutes away from it. So I was thinking that maybe I could take like a trash bag with me and put it in my pocket. Now whenever I just see trash, just pick it up instead of just doing it normal.
Kick it.
But the other thing I wanted to say also is that I'm currently in a environmental regulations and compliance course for my master's. And I learned that the labeling for recycling on model products isn't like supervised. So a lot of companies can put whatever they want, and even though they put recyclable, the product itself probably isn't recyclable. So I think in terms of like social media, I could like follow some legit recycling information education pages.
Yeah.
So that when I find good information, I can post it back on my story for other people to see and read.
I would encourage you, like, as you're learning straight from the source, you're learning in school, also sharing that information, maybe posting it on your own social media page, not just sharing a story, but creating content isn't for everyone, but it is a wonderful way to spread a positive message on what the individual can do. And I love your idea of running and just adding litter pickup to it. I would say often go on walks with these because I will bend over and pick up garbage, but sometimes I don't want to touch garbage. So I do find litter pickers to be wonderful. Keep Dallas Beautiful is actually pretty great if you let them know that you're utilizing it to pick up garbage, that they have supplies that individuals can use. So
Keep Dallas beautiful.
Keep Dallas Beautiful. They're a wonderful resources. Yeah.
Part.
It's the code department.
Yeah,
Yes.
that would be.
And we've had cleanups where we're like, hey, thank you so much for supplying the equipment. Do you mind if we keep a few? Because these people want to clean up White Rock Lake more often, or these people want to clean up the Katy Trail more often. So they're pretty wonderful. So thank you. Go ahead.
I could tell you what our team has done, with Gianna's help, and Judy's help. Well, we had a recycling, bin by our entrance of our office, which was great. We ran
It was specific to plastic bags.
to, yes. And it was getting overfilled, and Gianna and it got overwhelming, for us, and Judy and David. It got overwhelming for us, so Judy said, let's, we would take Gianna, we would take turns taking it to the recycle bin, places, locations to dispose of the property. But it got overwhelming, and then now we have, a company, with the help of Judy and Gianna, that come and pick up our trash bins. And we don't see, as much of the bin being full because of it getting, recycled. And that's what I love about our team, that we have taken initiative to help out the process. And, that it's going really smooth and it's not overwhelming anymore. It's not, becomes a have to do thing, it's fun, because the trashes are there, you pass by and it looks nice and neat. That's another thing about nice and neat, underneath the highways, the homeless are living underneath the highways. And they're leaving a lot of clothes and everything's flying up in the air. And, I do see the teams that they have out there. I think it's to help them get rid of the tickets. But that, whatever that program is, it's wonderful because when you pass by, one time you see all this clothes all over underneath the highways. And then the teams are over there picking it up. It's, when you drive back home, you see the progress. So I love that idea. I love what my husband does because his team, they get up in the, in the morning at 4 o'clock, get there at 5, and they're picking up trash. And he just tells me, guess what we found? Guess what we found?
It's
It's like a game,
it's like a scavenger hunt.
found $20. They find money, they find crazy stuff. And I love that too, that, he's doing, not only is he getting paid, but he's doing something for his environment, where he lives, the earth that he lives on. So I'm proud of that as well. And I'm proud of Gianna because she's a go-getter for trash.
Yeah. And what I like about the plastic bag initiative is you didn't know from the beginning, like you tested it out, and I think that's something like starting so small, not having an entire game plan, but trying it. And then being like, oh, there is interest here. Oh, I'm gonna keep going. And then later on, you found a supplier to take care of it.
Mhm.
And I think oftentimes when we start something, we think we have to know from start to finish, how is it going to go? But often just picking up one piece of garbage and going from there has different, I'm gonna call you Dr. Jim. Okay, go ahead.
So kind of going back to the activity a little
Yeah.
bit, I did put down that a couple of things that I enjoy doing. I enjoy being outside and enjoy engaging community and doing like crafts and stuff.
Yes.
In terms of what the world needs, I did put down circular waste systems. So like a way to not just always be producing something new, but to be able to reuse things and like not even just because recycling is important, like we've been talking about, but like not consuming in the first place.
Reducing. We have to
Yes,
reduce.
that's the first
So
part.
much.
Reduce,
Yeah.
then reuse,
Yes.
and then recycle if the other two don't work. And then also like equity in terms of making sure that things are available to people. So when I was looking at what I can actually do, I'm always sharing stuff on my socials,
Always.
always.
I find a lot of stuff on Gianna's social.
Good.
They're
And I find a lot of stuff on Madeline's socials. Yeah. Oh, and I like to attend events. So even if I'm not the one putting on the event, or if it's a friend, somebody's like, oh, I'm gonna be talking here, or oh, we're putting this on. I like to be able to go, and I can learn when I go. I can share with somebody else, hey, this event is happening, and then just sharing the awareness that way, as well as educating others. So like whether that's via social media or just having conversations, just meeting people when you go from place to place, just being able to talk about different things that you're like, oh, I know that these initiatives are going on. And while I might not always be able to physically be in attendance, you never know what that might spark by talking to somebody else. Like I just thought Danielle, that used to work in the no. They used to work
Oh
the
my gosh.
animal,
Yeah,
yeah,
I love her. Yes,
yes, the
she's
animal
amazing.
shelter.
If she's
So
watching.
but I used to work with somebody and found out that Madeline and I both knew her. And then she started going to the cleanups with Madeline. And it's just like being able to make those connections that, oh, you know, she wouldn't have gone to clean up trash probably unless, you know, somebody had invited her, but then she knew Madeline and she felt comfortable and empowered to be able to go and do that. So yeah, just making those connections.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so from there, now that you've kind of brainstormed, Michael, did you?
Yeah, I just have a clarification question, actually.
Go ahead.
I don't know if anybody is aware of any governmental agencies like that, like would exist on the local level or maybe even the private sector that deal with the actual waste itself, like the waste management company here in Texas or in the Dallas area. Where does it go? Does it go to a landfill? Does it go to does it get burned? Does it get compacted? How are we dealing with this? Because I really feel like it's one thing to pick it up, but I mean, if you cannot be involved in that process and perhaps maybe you're looking for a job and you are undocumented and all of the same, right? I mean, can you be involved in some way to still be involved in the waste industry, right?
Yes.
And make a difference.
Yeah.
So it's,
I love, so
Yeah.
admittedly, my presentation is more micro,
okay,
which I love. I love the idea of macro, like, you know, the large changes, what needs to be done with Dallas, I'm actually a Waxahachie resident. I'm a little bit further south than y'all.
okay.
But my focus is micro, meaning what can the individual do? But as you become more involved, if you desire, like there are macro opportunities. So like now in our city, we have recycling down there, but we're looking at, because this became a passion, because I started working more and more, volunteering more and more with it, I got involved with Keep Waxahachie Beautiful, and now we're looking into expanding our recycling program, which would be working more in the waste management field. So that would be a different topic. Sorry, I don't have the answers to that. I'm not an expert. I'm an enthusiast.
Okay.
Just so you.
But we don't.
Yeah, don't leave.
Because
We have-
we do have some contacts for
Mhm.
if you're
Yes.
if you're curious.
We definitely have some experts in the room who know experts.
Yeah.
So that's the key, is know the experts.
Actually, playing the process.
Yes.
Been there.
I know I've had the chance to see some of the facilities and they're impressive. All right, so these are just some steps, you know, start small, stay consistent, share your story. And sharing your story, I chose to share my story online. Sharing your story might be texting your friend. You know, it might be like, hey, I know my dad, he shares his trash stories with me, and I love it. But if you have the ability to share your story with someone, whether it's online, an individual, an organization, there's also an incredible organization here in Texas called the Texas Master Naturalists. They're a fantastic organization that focuses on conservation, but also just being a nature nerd and loving the outdoors. I highly recommend them if you're like, dang it, I don't have anyone who gets as excited about this stuff as I do. I know I have that problem where I'm like, oh, I just saw a female cardinal. Who's gonna geek out with me? These guys geek out with me all the time. So find a community you can share it with. And if you don't have the community, join the community. If you can't find a community to join, create the community to join. So, but there are some great resources if you don't want to reinvent the wheel, which I recommend. So yes, start small, stay consistent, share your story. And just as the last activity is your Earth Day everyday game plan. So one small action step, I'll start this week. I'll stay, sorry, that's a typo. I'll stay consistent. Who I'll share it with. And I love the idea, just a bag. It doesn't have to be a big commitment, but as you walk down the Katy Trail, picking up one bag or picking up 5 cigarette butts. How I'll stay consistent, how it'll become a natural part of your life. And who I'll share it with. And again, if you don't have someone to share it with yet, creating that. It really is more fun. It's more fun when you get to share it with fellow nerds like yourself, nature nerds. And I know it's, for me, I enjoy celebrating. I just got a message yesterday saying, hey, we just started a neighborhood composting program and she's in a different state. And I just celebrated her because she's starting a journey that will lead to wonderful relationships. And one of my favorite things about starting a hobby 5 years ago is I had no idea that it would introduce me to people from other communities. These are just some of the projects we were able to do. So this is we had a photography contest. I wanted to document how much trash was in White Rock Lake, or I wanted to be.
It's time for a weekly building class. Join us at 12 on the first floor in Dallas West for a free session. If you don't have a mat, don't worry, we've got one for you. Again, that's first floor, Dallas West at 12 per week. Hope to see you there.
So I know when we were cleaning White Rock Lake, one of my greatest frustrations is not enough people can see it. I wanted more people to see it and I was posting it, but I was like, no, I need people to like see it because all the populated areas were kept clean and were beautiful, but it's when you got in the water and dirty that it was filthy. So we decided to do a White Rock Lake plastic pollution photo contest. And in my head, I wanted to overcomplicate it. I wanted to have a grand prize of $500, but I was like, oh, I don't have $500. So I was brainstorming with my friend and I was like, I only have like $100 extra. And she's like, do it with $100 extra. And I was like, oh, okay, like I could do that. And she's like, even $100 extra will be exciting. And so we created the White Rock Lake plastic pollution photo contest and we had over 100 entries. And this was the second prize winner. And it documented the plastic pollution in a way that I don't have the skills. As stated before, I'm not an expert, I'm an enthusiast. I knew I wanted to document it, but I knew I didn't have the skills to document it myself. So just starting exactly where you are.
Is that at White Rock Lake?
This is White Rock Lake, yes. This is Mad Mallard by Adam Velty, I believe his last name is Velty.
But we have something like that should you need a brochure that was beautiful like that.
Yeah.
You know, to show reality of what really is. Because, you know, you can tell people, hey, pick up trash. But when you physically show them, this is what it looks like, they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, then you get a different reaction.
Yes.
Yeah, and letting them know this was taken
At White Rock, this was taken, you know, here in Dallas, yeah. It's not some random far off area. It's like, it's literally, you know.
And a lot of that trash comes in from up north through White Rock Creek,
Yeah,
that dumps into the lake.
go ahead.
So all the communities need to participate.
Yes.
Now, traditionally, Rock, Lake and White Rock Creek,
Mhm.
they were originally lakes, or they weren't man-made or
So-
anything?
No, Texas only has like 2 non-man-made lakes. Almost every, how many?
Just one.
Just one. So Texas only has 1 non-man-made lake. So pretty much every lake you visit is man-made.
Because, I mean, there's from I don't wanna get off topic, but from a naturalist perspective, and perhaps an indigenous perspective, sometimes trash gravitates, right, towards a space, where things are being pulled to. Right, and so maybe perhaps like, I think that's what this is telling us in this picture. Right, that there's perhaps layers, just like archaeology, there are layers, so there's probably life.
Mhm.
You know, that once was there. And so I think there's hope.
So I'm not disagreeing with it, but I will say trash is everywhere in Texas waters. So one wonderful thing again about randomly posting about litter cleanups is we started getting invited. We actually have partnered with the Native American community.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we've actually partnered. This is by an artist. Her name is Dora Brought Plenty. I wanted to bring it because these are all my little souvenirs.
Oh, cool.
So Dora Brought Plenty. She plans a quarterly litter cleanup at the Trinity River, and the Trinity River is a historically sacred river. And so every quarter they do a water blessing and they do a litter cleanup because thoughts and prayers are great, but it's also good to get down and dirty and do the work required to make it a cleaner place. And so she made these for my kids. So she's made dream catchers for all of my children. And again, I just brought them because picking up litter isn't my job, it's a hobby, but because of it, we've been able to be part of communities that we would never be a part of on a regular basis. Because there would be no intersect, but
Cultures
cultures, yes,
and
So-
history.
yeah, so we do partner, so if you want to look into it, follow Dora Brought Plenty, she has an Instagram page, she does a lot of waterway blessings and cleanups. If you-
Okay, awesome, yeah.
Yes, she also does art, so I'm not trying to advertise it, I'm just more sharing, because
Go Dora.
they're special.
Yeah, yeah.
Another thing I did bring for everyone, and you can choose to take it or not, I brought sunflower seeds. These are Texas native sunflower seeds. They do get up to 6 feet tall. So wherever you plant them, keep in mind they will get about this tall, but they are native to the area. I wanted to give you something to share as an example of small actions bring big results. A sunflower is considered a keystone species. A native sunflower is considered a keystone species. It supports around 250 different species of life. So by planting a sunflower, you're not just helping 1 or even 10 pollinators, you're helping 80 of them. And it's much like small action. So thank you guys so much for coming. I loved your participation. Feel free to take a bag on your way out, and it's from my garden. And let's make Earth Day every day.
Thank you.
I guess we could do Q&A if anyone has questions.
For the sunflowers, what type of sunflowers are they?
They're just native, so they're the native sunflowers to the area.
Do they come up as small, or are they like mammoth ones?
They're teeny tiny.
Okay,
So the plant is large, but the flower is small.
Yeah.
So it'll be a lot of tiny little sunflowers.
okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Maximilian.
Yes. And if you don't, like, let's say you don't have a garden to plant them in, if you see a field that is unmowed, like if you see like, oh, this is an area that doesn't get mowed on a regular basis and it's left to go wild, they are safe to be planted anywhere within our ecoregion. So you can throw them. You can just throw them out the window. And it's okay to do that. Yeah.
Our neighbor had I guess the kids, the neighbors, because I don't get to talk to my neighbors because of our work hours. But they had a sunflower and I could see it as it was growing, because their fence like fell down,
Mhm.
but then it got taller, and then they put their fence up, and it was so tall, I
Mhm.
could see it from upstairs, in my granddaughter's window. And that sunflower was huge, it was beautiful, and then all of a sudden, I guess they cut it down, 'cause I didn't see it after.
They follow.
Yes.
Yeah, the mammoth
Because it was
flowers,
like
once they're big, are
so
tall.
Shallow roots too.
Yeah.
Jack and the Beanstalk,
Really
color,
shallow.
you know, yeah. But I was so proud of it.
Gianna had one come up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, cause I have a bird feeder and they like the
Mhm.
sunflower seed. And so I had one beautiful, like, look, a bunch of them grow up, but one of the heads was like this big. And I got some sunflower seed.
Aw.
Mixed
And
together.
you produce, like, it's a
Yeah.
forever plant.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
Yeah, it's.
Were there any online questions?
Yes. Jessica has a question.
Hi, Jessica.
If you want to pick up trash, are cities receptive of you picking up trash bags to collect the materials, or is it more so on you to haul the bags and find a place to toss it?
Ooh, okay, so that will,
She's talking specifically large trash bags / items.
yes, so that will depend, Jessica, it will depend on the city that you're located in. So the city of Dallas is wonderful if you contact them and say, we're doing, if you and your friends, when I say we're doing, it could literally be you and a friend. You can contact them and say, we're doing a cleanup here. Do we have someone available to come clean it up? And generally, the city of Dallas, Keep Dallas Beautiful has been, or code compliance, have been very easy to work with. They'll often provide the litter picker or bags. I know in Waxahachie with Keep Waxahachie Beautiful, we have something called a cleanup closet. And it is anyone in our community can contact us and say, I would like a litter picker and some bags to do a cleanup. And we let large groups or even small groups, there's no size of group. Even if you say, I want to do it individually, we have the supplies to give individuals. So most cities I know, I can't speak for every city in Texas or the United States, love when their citizens pick up garbage and want to empower citizens to pick up garbage. So I would say before, like if you're trying to plan a group cleanup, before you go out and pay for your supplies, contact your city and see if they have the resources. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
The city of Dallas has been very easy to work with any times we needed something.
Yeah, code compliance
Yeah.
has it.
Yeah,
I
they,
think you hit the nail on the head.
Yes. yeah, they're like, you want to pick up garbage? Yes, here you
Yes,
go.
Yeah.
Drive back the near your glove.
Yes. So.
What about
On
the
your merry way.
take the bag?
Oh, yeah, so you would let them know, so if you know the time and date, so again, in Waxahachie, we would talk, you'd be like, hey, the cleanup's happening here on this date, can you come pick it up after? And generally, the code compliance or the Parks and Rec Department is willing to do so. The city of Dallas is also the same, if you just let them know when and where your cleanup is and make sure it works with them, they will come pick it up. You shouldn't, again, you shouldn't have to pay for that garbage to be disposed of. Most cities are just so excited you're cleaning up. They'll provide people to come pick it up for you. So you don't actually have to put the garbage in your own car. Yeah. Yeah, any other questions? And I'm gonna guess, even if you're not within one of the cities we just mentioned, they would be very excited for you to contact them and ask them. Most cities are so enthusiastic for volunteers. They're begging for more volunteers. Okay, think that's good?
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
it's great.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. For any, well, y'all all are here. For you, and I guess when Michael gets back, we do have some giveaway items, so feel free to peruse this and pick up something. We've got some little poop bags, if you have a dog, if you know somebody who has a dog, and some other resources too. Yep. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Awesome book.
This is what you would get if you were here.
Yes. You're here, does what you're here.
Yeah.
And since you're not here, you're
Going
down.
out.
Yeah.
We have great giveaways.
Yeah.
How often are you in Dallas with your cleanups?
I used to be all the time.
Sounded like.
But like honestly, every week, but then I just decided I needed to focus more. So now most of our cleanups are down. I realized garbage is everywhere. You know, it used to be like go to White Rock Lake, but I was like, oh wait, we have creeks in my own city. Why am I driving 30 minutes if I could just go to the creek in my own city?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I love about Waxahachie is they have trash cans. then they have their sign on there. And that's what I love at every stop, because people just get out. And this is from experience from Judy and I.
Yeah.
People just get out there as soon as we're picking up, and they just threw a whole McDonald's bag with, you know, cups and everything. We're just like, did they just do that? They see us picking up. And so we're just like, yeah, I like that idea that they're putting the bins, trash bins. Or when you go to a restaurant, that they have that trash bin, even though people want to fill it up real quick. But it's so good that they have that, because people just, you know, in your cup holder, you have a cup in there and they want to throw it on the trash instead of putting it in the trash can, so that they can put their new cup on there.
Okay, okay,
What do I need next?
okay, so rainwater collection, what kind of setup do you have?
I have nothing.
You have nothing?
Show you the back. But like this has to.
Elizabeth?
Do you like?
Great